And I would do, folks, here. Boom! Marks 1225 numbers. After name little games beating action over here, man. Little Foot Clan, you know what I'm saying? Playing over here on the Cowabunga collection. I've always been curious about these Game Boy games with Ninja Turtles, and they're really kind of easy plays to kind of go through now, which makes it pretty cool. They're short, they're compact, they play very well on the Switch. I beat this game maybe in a sitting. I obviously used, I guess it's save states officially. I always struggle with it because I never really try to save state in an actual stage unless there's some crazy thing that I've had like tons of problems with. But I will save in between stages, which I guess maybe wouldn't happen in the game over. I don't know. I'm not sure if I died enough to even find out like what happens when there's a game over. The game is relatively easy. I'm not gonna lie. There is some stages that get a little bit trickier with a couple more enemies, but there's just a limitation of the Game Boy that there can only be so many things on the screen to begin with. Definitely if you play it a couple times and you memorize like what's actually happening, then forget it. Then it's like really, really easy. But overall, like I wouldn't call this game necessarily challenging. It's fun. It's cool to kind of put yourself back also at that time and that perspective and think like, hey, like if you were a big Ninja Turtles fan, all of a sudden you could take this on the go with you and look at kind of like the game that you're playing on the go, which is pretty neat. Whereas looking at it now, you're probably like, well, like, is this really that neat? Is this really that good of a game? I don't know. That's just like a big boulder thing that just went through. So, all relative, all gotta be put into context, obviously. You can't go back, for example. Whatever. It's a Game Boy game, man. You gotta understand what you're getting yourself into. But it's pretty cool, man. I beat this one, and I think I beat the second one. I haven't done the third Game Boy game, because I think it's a little bit different. It's a little more ambitious. Simple side-scroller kind of action. You have all four turtles. They play all similar. I think maybe they have a little bit different ranges with their kind of attacks. I'm not even sure if I play. I think later on, maybe I had to play as a different turtles. One of them died. But I pretty much played Leonardo the whole time. This guy's on a bike. I'm like, what's going on, man? Like, that's a lot of like graphical workforce right there for the damn Game Boy to pull all that off right there. Uh-oh, they're coming back. We jump right over there, try to hit them. I don't know. Whatever. And that's pretty much it, man. That's pretty much the game. Rinse and repeat. It might seem a little bit simple. I beat it, like I said, in an afternoon, an hour or two, maybe something like that. Really cool, kind of fun addition over there. You know, when I look back at the Cowabunga collection, I'm gonna play like with my friends, like the actual Super Nintendo and Nintendo games, and there'll be kind of this one where maybe I'll play it in a couple years one day when I'm just bored, and I'm like, hey, you know what? I can go through for like a quick little kind of easy side-scroller, beat-em-up kind of action type game, and I'll come back to it. And I think it all really fits in very well with the collection that has those options, and even some fighting game kind of options, which is a little bit weird. I don't know if I'll ever really tackle, but if you're into them, I guess it's kind of cool. But for me, the replayability of the actual beat-em-ups is cool, and then to sprinkle in some of these things. And also, when you're making a collection, you're kind of trying to get the whole history of it. I think it's really cool to have these very different type games, these Game Boy games that are so unique. And now everything's kind of the same in any system, but back in the day, these are weird.